Driving plays a big part in driving the local economy. It helps us all get where we're going and creates good jobs close to home. At Synovus Energy, our refineries in Toledo and Lima are a reliable domestic source of gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. Plus, more than 2,300 employees and contractors work for us here in Ohio. See how we're helping local communities move forward at Synovus.com.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC on a Sunday on which nothing is happening. I'm assuming nothing is happening. I am recording this on Saturday. So my assumption is that given we have the two biggest games of the year taking place, the Euro 2024 final between Spain and England, and the Copa America final taking place between Argentina and Colombia, I'm assuming most clubs will be decent enough and not actually sign anybody on this day because, you know, there's other things to be focusing on. Now, I've seen a lot of people having themselves a big old whinge about, you know, other clubs have done loads of business and we're not doing anything. And I thought I'd have a look and see what other clubs are actually doing or what they've actually done thus far. Now, as I record this, there has been news that Aston Villa are close to signing Amadou Onana from Everton. So bear that in mind. That deal's not done yet, so I will include it. But we'll start with Arsenal. The only thing they've done so far is sign David Raya. So they haven't improved themselves as yet. Villa signed Maatsen. They've brought back Cameron Archer, who was there before. They've brought in Samuel Illing Jr., Lewis Dobbin, Enzo Barancia, Ross Barkley. It looks like they'll get Philigen done, and Onana will arrive as well. So that's a lot of business. Going out the door, Douglas Luiz, Eric Boonham, Morgan Sanson, Callum Chambers, and Phil Coutinho. Overall, Villa will have improved. Onana's a really good get. He improves them in the middle of the park. He's a better player, or I think he's going to be a better player than Douglas Luiz. I'd say right now Luiz is probably still better, but Onana is younger and has much higher upside. Maatsen improves them at left back. They may lose Moussa Diaby. That's a move that's been mooted, that he could go to Saudi. Illing Jr. and Philigen, that's probably breaks about even when you factor the two young players in. Lewis Dobbin's another one that can play wide. So, you know, they're probably stronger in the wide areas overall. Archer gives them a good backup striker. My assumption is his arrival means that Jean Duran will leave. I would rather have Archer, to be honest. I think he's a bit more coachable and a bit more reliable. Duran's a bit mental. I don't think he knows what he's doing half the time. The people say the same about Darwin, but sure, it is what it is. And I like Barancia as a backup in midfield. So I would say Villa have definitely improved this summer. Bournemouth. Sinisterra was there last year. Unal was there last year. They've signed Daniel Jebison on a free. I do like that move for them. They've signed Alex Paulson, a young New Zealander, to be their second or third choice goalkeeper. They've lost Lloyd Kelly. They've lost Jamal Lowe. That doesn't really matter. He was out on loan last season. and they've loaned out Joe Rothwell. I think Lloyd Kelly out, Jebison in. I think they're weaker now, today, than they were at the end of the season, because they already had Sinisterra and Unal. Brentford have signed Igor Thiago, but will likely sell Ivan Toney. The only other thing they've done, David Raya, that deal's complete, and Thomas Strakosha has left on a free. I would say once Toney goes, they're a little bit worse off. Toney's a better player than Igor Thiago. So it's not actually a little bit. I think they're substantially worse off. Thiago might become really good. Right now, Toney's a lot better. So they're worse. Brighton have signed Yankuba Minta, Mats Wiefer, Ibrahim Osman, and Malik Yalkoi. And Mario Koscielny Dubry, the young player from Arsenal. And they've only lost Lallana. So Brighton have improved hugely. Credit to them. They've improved hugely. They did also lose Ansu Fati. They didn't play much last year. I think Brighton have had a really good window thus far. Chelsea brought in Dewsbury Hall, Omari Kellerman, Renato Vega, Mark Gui, and Tosin Adarabioyo. So Tosin's a good squad player for them. Dewsbury Hall's a good squad player for them. They've sold Ian Matson, they've sold Amari Hutchinson, they've sold Lewis Hall. None of them were there last year. All things considered, I don't think they've moved the needle for themselves. They're a little bit deeper squad-wise, but I don't think they've improved their first team. Crystal Palace have signed Chadi Riyad and Daichi Kamada while selling Michael Olise. They've gotten worse, but I do really like the two players they brought in. But Olise was their best player, and they've lost him. Now, they will get Doucouré back, who missed most of last season. Wharton will be that bit more settled as well, so I think he'll kick on too. They'll probably wash out as being stronger overall because Doucouré's back, because Wharton is more experienced. He's been at the Euros. He'll have been training with good players. I think that will help them. I think Riyad's a really good signing. I think Kamada's a good signing. But overall, as of right now, I think they're worse. Everton have signed Iliman Ndiaye and Tim Irubinum. They've sold Godfrey, Dobbin, and it looks like Onana's going. So once Onana's out the door, they are significantly worse. Though I do like the signing of Ndiaye. Didn't work out from Marseille, but he is a good player. Fulham have sold João Palhinha. It looks like Andre's coming in. They're worse. Ipswich have signed Omari Hutchinson, Jacob Greaves, and Liam Delap. They're much better than they were last year, but they weren't in the Premier League last year, so it doesn't really matter. Leicester signed Fatua, who was there last year, Okoli, who I do like, Golding, who's a kid, and they sold Dewsbury Hall. They're worse than they were last season. They've also brought in Bobby De Cordova-Reid, but they lost Dennis Pryor and Iheanacho in the summer as well. They're worse than they were last season, but again, they weren't in the division. Thus far, we've loaned out Calvin Ramsey and let Adrian leave. We've brought back Seth Vandenberg. We're better just by that transaction than we were last season. Manchester City have sold Taylor Howard-Bellis, was at Southampton on loan last year. They've sold Tommy Doyle, was at Wolves on loan last year, and they've sold Sergio Gomez. Doesn't really make any difference. They're about the same as they were last year. They bring back João Cancelo off loan. They bring back Calvin Phillips off loan. Maximo Perrone comes back off loan. If you want to include them, then overall they are better, but, you know. United, for all the talk, have actually done nothing yet. Bar selling Donny van de Beek and Alvaro Carreras, both of whom spent last season on loan. They've lost Amari Forson. It does look like Xerxes gets done probably in the next couple of days. They're selling Cambuala, the young centre-back, who I thought looked quite good last year. It looks like Matthias de Ligt will come in. I don't think these are signings that move the needle. Varane has also left, by the way, as did Martial, as did Brandon Williams, as did Shola Shortire. as did Amrabat, who apparently they're still considering keeping. I don't think they've improved if they sign Xerxes. Is Xerxes better than Martial? Yes, but does he improve their first 11? I don't think so. Is he starting over Højlund? If he is, he's not only better, he's different, but he's not as good a goal scorer. And I think De Ligt is a downgrade on Varane. So I just don't see it as a hugely impressive bit of business. They're chasing Ugarte. Like, he's a really good ball winner. He's a really good player. He's a horrible fit with Kobe Mainoo. Horrible fit. Newcastle have brought in Lewis Hall. He was there last season on loan. They've signed Lloyd Kelly. They've signed John Ruddy. They've signed the Greek goalkeeper from Forest. And they've sold Elliot Anderson and Yankuba Minta. I think Minta was out on loan last season, but Anderson's really good. I'm not sure Kelly in, Anderson out improves you. Makes you gives you more depth at the back, but I think overall they're about the same. They will do business. We'll see what happens. Forest have signed Anderson, signed Stemanec, signed Carlos Miguel, and thus far sold Moussa Niakate, sold Mangala, who was out on loan the second half of last season. I think they've gotten worse because I think Niakate was more valuable to them than Anderson right now. But if they keep Murillo and Omabamidele as the centre-back pairing, they didn't really need Niakate, and Anderson could be a big addition in midfield. But overall, they're about the same. A little bit worse, maybe. Southampton. Taylor Howard-Bellis was there on loan last year. They've made that deal permanent. They've signed Nathan Wood. They've signed Ronnie Edwards. I like these deals. They signed Charlie Taylor's decent depth. They signed Lallana. He's an empty shirt. They sold Lyango. They sold Duje Kaleta-Kar. They sold Roman Perot. I think they were all on loan last year. Che Adams and Stuart Armstrong also left. So overall, with Che Adams and Armstrong going, they're, I think, worse than they were last season, but they've got more deals to come. Spurs did a really good summer. They sold Joe Rodon. He was on loan last season. Perisic left. He was out on loan. Dembele left. He was on loan. Dyer left. He was on loan. Tanganga left. He was on loan. They brought in Archie Gray, and they've added Lucas Burgo. That was a deal that was done in January, but I think they're better thus far. But they're two 18-year-old midfielders. They're not going to make a huge difference. They're not going to be in the first 11 straight away. So as a starting 11, they haven't actually improved, but squad-wise, I think they have. West Ham have signed Max Kilman and Luis Guilherme. They've also brought in Wes Foderingham. Saeed Benrahma's gone. He was on loan. Carrera's gone. He was on loan. Nathan Trott is gone. He's gone actually to Copenhagen to replace Camille Grabara, our former keeper. But, he doesn't make a difference. Max Kilman improves them. Guilherme's not going to start for them straight away, but Max Kilman will, and he improves them. I'll be curious to see who he partners. I'd really like if he partnered Agard. I think that's the two best centre-backs there. They are both left-footed. I don't mind that. Guy Drinkle hates it, so all the more reason to do it. Guilherme is super talented. He's at least a year away from being ready to start regularly in the Premier League. And finally, Wolverhampton Wanderers. So they sold Kilman. I don't care what else they've done. They're going to be worse. He's their best defender. The two players they've signed, Rodrigo Gomes and Pedro Lima, the two new players they've signed in defence, are both right backs, and they still have Nelson Semedo, who's older and at this point I would imagine better than both of these, but it might be that Semedo leaves this summer and Gomes becomes first choice. They've made the Tommy Doyle loan a permanent deal, and they've signed Jorgen Strand Larsen, the big Norwegian striker from Celta Vigo. It can't do any harm. It can't do any harm. I assume they keep him. They are bringing back a bunch of players that were out on loan last year, like Pedence, Guedes, Kalazic, Mosquera, so Fabio Silva. If any of them kick on, it will improve the squad from where it is today. But right now, they're definitely worse off than they were. So that's the whole league, right? So if we look at just our rivals, right? So let's just take the other clubs in the Big Six and Newcastle. So Arsenal haven't improved. City haven't improved. I don't think United are improving with Xerxes and De Ligt. I don't think it improves their starting 11. And remember, they've kept Erik ten Hag. We'll see what else they do. But I don't see a huge jump there. Chelsea haven't improved their starting 11. They've improved their squad. Spurs haven't improved their starting 11. They've improved their squad. Newcastle haven't improved their starting 11. I think the squad is about the same, maybe a little bit worse. Like, what am I meant to be upset about here? The only club that we would look at right now and say are a rival of ours for a top 4 finish is Villa, who have improved. If we look at that as an 8-team group, the traditional Big Six, us, United, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Spurs, plus the 2 upstarts, Newcastle and Villa, Villa are the only one that have improved their starting 11. That's it. So what am I meant to be upset with that we haven't done anything yet? Neither have Arsenal. Now, they might get Calafiori. If they do, fantastic, fair play. That improves them. But they had the best defensive record in the league last year. So how much is it actually improving them? Like, it's another centre-back. He's an upgrade on Gabriel, but I'd imagine he's been bought to play left-back, which flies in the face of what Arsenal fans told us all of last season, which is that Jurrien Timber was going to play left-back. And you'd wonder where Jurrien Timber is actually going to play. The funny thing about the Timber thing was he was signed to play left-back. Well, you spent all of the previous season telling us that Zinchenko was the best left-back in the league. Maybe you signed to play right-back, but you spent 2 years now telling us that Ben White is the best right-back in the league. Strange. They haven't done anything. City haven't done anything. And frankly, I'm not all that worried about the rest. I'm really not. I think the floor of our team is 3rd. I think it was 3rd last year. Like I say, Villa have improved. Villa have also got Champions League this season. And all the players they're signing, I really like, but they're all really young and inexperienced. Like, there's no veteran player coming in there that's a guaranteed... Well, Ross Barkley, but he's not going to be a regular starter. And he's also not guaranteed to be fit every week. But Maatsen is 22, Archer's 22, Illing Jr. is 20, Dobbins 21, Philigen, I think, is 22 as well. Yeah, he's 22 as well. And Onana is 22 and turns 23 in August. These are not consistent high-level performers yet. They will be. I really like what Villa are doing. I love what they're building there. Still think they need a centre-back. Konza goes right-back. New centre-back. Pau Torres. They can defend in that 3. They can launch Maatsen up the wing. You've got Jacob Ramsey to play left side. Boubacar Kamara and Onana as the double pivot. My assumption is McGinn will start right side or as the 10. Now, I think if they want to really progress, he's one they'll have to replace in the starting 11. But you've got all these wing options. You've got Watson. Now you've got Cameron Archer back as a backup striker. You've obviously got Leon Bailey. He might start right side and McGinn as the 10 or vice versa. But, it's a really good team. Is it better than ours? Alisson's better than Emi Martinez, and Emi's good, but Alisson's better. Trent is better than any right back they have. Ibu and Virgil are better than their centre backs. I would take Maatsen over Robbo at this point. Now, I would take their double pivot. I'd take Kamara and Onana. Alexis would be the 10, Mo is the right winger, Dominic is the left winger, and Watkins over Darwin. But Watkins is just Darwin 4 years older. Like, go back and look at Ollie Watkins 4 years ago and look at his conversion numbers and production. Like, it was what we're seeing from Darwin, but actually worse. He wasn't putting up the same kind of numbers in the Premier League. He's a good player, but I would rather have Darwin long haul, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm a bit confused by Darwin. But either way, there's 4 Villa players in that combined 11 and 7 of our lot. And the ones of ours that are missing out, I think are better than some of the ones of theirs that are missing out. So overall, I'm comfortable with where we stand against Villa, comfortable where we stand against Chelsea and United and Spurs and Newcastle. I don't think the gap to Arsenal is all that big, if I'm being completely honest. Like, again, go back and look at last season. Look at the Premier League table. And I struggle with the idea that they're much better than us. They finished 7 points ahead of us last year. We were robbed of 2 points against them when Odegaard played basketball. That's a 3-point swing because they lose a point, we gain 2. That puts us 4 behind them. We were robbed of 2 points at Chelsea on the first day of the season when Nicholas Jackson decided to slap the ball in the box. That puts us 2 behind Arsenal. We were robbed at Spurs when Diaz scores the goal. I've watched that game a couple of times recently in the last 4 or 5 months, just to annoy myself more than anything. Because I came away at the time convinced that a draw was the best we could have done, but I actually think we would have won that game if Diaz scores that goal. Or if the Diaz goal is given, he did score it, but I think we would have won the game. So let's say 2 points there. That's now the gap closed on Arsenal based on three refereeing decisions. Now, they'd have a better goal difference than us. But let's not forget that we were also robbed against City. That would put us above Arsenal, level on points with City. Add 2 to us, take 1 from them. Again, they'd have the better goal difference. But again, like, I'm looking at refereeing decisions as the biggest factor for us finishing 7 points behind Arsenal. I'm looking at injuries as the second biggest factor. Look how many injuries we had last season and look what they had. I don't see the gap to Arsenal as being nearly as big as some people try and make it out to be. I think we're right there with them, just a nudge below City. Because I don't think this is a great City team. It's not the City team of 2017 to 2019. I know they've won 4 in a row. I know they won the Champions League. I don't care. The Premier League has been much weaker in recent years than it was when us and City were going toe-to-toe. At the very high end, it's weaker. There's no real competition for them other than Arsenal, who don't have the bottle. They might have next season. They haven't had the last 2. The Champions League is definitely weaker than it was the year we won it. So I don't see this massive gap. We have things we need to do this summer. I think we obviously need a new left back. There's no question about that. We're good at right back with Trent and Bradley. I kind of feel like we might be okay at centre back if we decide to keep Sepp. With Ibu and Virgil as starters, Joe, Kwanzaa and Sepp as the 3 depth pieces. Kind of feel like that's pretty good. Goalkeeper, we've got the best in the league, best in the world. If Kelleher stays, great. He's second choice, Yaros is third choice. That's tremendous. If he leaves, I think Yaros gets bumped to second choice. We probably bring in someone on the cheap for third choice. Maybe we buy someone, I don't know. But I think we're good in goal as well. So goalkeeper, right back, centre back, I'm happy with. Left back is an issue. One of Costas or Robbo, maybe both, should be sold. Ideally, I'd sell Robbo because he's older than Costas. He's more expensive than Costas. I don't know how he'd react to becoming a squad player. Can be quite a big thing for a player who's been first choice, automatic first choice, for a long time to all of a sudden get shunted into a backup role. But he definitely should be no more than a squad player. So I'd be inclined to sell him and keep Costas if we have to keep one. Ideally, just sell both. Gomez can cover there. Chambers can stick around and cover there. Scanlon can cover there. We could be all right if we just buy a really good starter. That'll do us in defence. Up front, we've got Darwin, we've got Jota. That's fine. Right wing, we've got Mo, we've got Harvey. That's, I think, fine. It's the 10 and left wing spots. I think Dominic is the starting 10. But Harvey can cover there. Gakpo can cover there. Alexis can play there. Diaz and Gakpo as the left wingers. It's not perfect, but look, it's not bad. It's not bad. And I don't think anyone would suggest either of them have been all that well used since we got them. It's the central midfield area that's the biggest issue for us, other than left back. Alexis is one starter. We've got Curtis and Besetic as the depth behind him. We don't have a defensive midfielder. We've got Endo as a backup. Gravenberch can also play the 10. You could just pencil him in as the backup to Dom, as the number 10. So we need a defensive midfielder and a left back. There are nearly 7 weeks left in the transfer window. Maybe fully 7 weeks. I'm not going to lose my mind because we haven't done anything yet. We've got 7 weeks. So let's all settle down. Our rivals aren't doing anything else either. That's going to do me for today, I think, folks. I'll see you all tomorrow, Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at anfieldindex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Just like backyard barbecues or a day at the pool, the Three Rivers Festival has always been a part of our summer fun. And the festival returns July 12th to the 20th. It kicks off with the annual Three Rivers Festival Parade. Browse art in the park with local artisans. Bring the family to Children's Fest. Stroll through Junk Food Alley. And don't forget about the festival concerts at the Hoosier Lottery stage with live music from nationally renowned acts. You can buy your concert tickets or check out a schedule of events at threeriversfestival.org. Don't miss the best summer experience in Fort Wayne, the Three Rivers Festival.